You are listening to Quarters and Barra. I am Glenn Quartermain, senior sports reporter with the West Australian. With me is Adrian Barrich of Channel 7 Perth Football Club and West Coast Eagles fame. We are brought to you by TABtouch. Got the touch? Download the TABtouch app today. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. We are going to try and pick you some winners in round 19. But first, Barra, have you calmed down, mate? Have you had your cup of chamomile tea? You were very fired up on Tuesday, and Hollywood,
mate,
150,000 people have watched your rant on Facebook.
Is that right? Well,
yeah. Hollywood.
I apologise for dropping the S word.
Oh, you were very fired up.
It's not so bad, but I've got to say, mate, I reckon I'm even more fired up today because, and I'm not putting it on or whatever. I spoke to the AFL yesterday. Were you there? No, it was Mitch Woodcock. And
the AFL gave you nothing.
Andrew
yesterday.
Dillon, and we're talking about what concessions there should be for the clubs over here, the WA clubs. We're still reeling from that Hawthorn trip, the fact that the Dockers had to go down. They've been down there 12 times.
Well,
they've lost 11 times to Hawthorn down there. It's freezing cold. They didn't like it at all. And also, Collingwood has never been down there in the history of the game. Collingwood's never gone down to play in Tasmania. Essendon and Geelong and the big clubs have only played 3 times, and they're just up the road. I mean, I feel like Peter Finch in the movie Network.
Oh, it's a great movie. Won an Academy
honestly,
posthumously for that.
Mate, I'm as mad as hell.
And I'm not going to take it.
And I'm not going to take it anymore. That's where I've got to, mate. Seriously. I want people to get out of their chairs if they're listening to our potty now.
And scream
stand
out
up,
the window.
Go to the window, open it up, poke your head out and yell out, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. It's a joke. If you're in your car listening to the potty now, wind down the window and just put your head out the window and yell, I'm as mad as hell.
Just be careful as you're driving.
And I'm not going to take it anymore.
Don't do it if you're driving. Just be careful.
If you're at work, go to the don't rain on my parade, mate. When you're if you're in the car park, just get out of your workplace, go out in the car park. And just do that. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm sick of it. It's not right. It's seriously not right.
Bit of breaking news on that flight back from Tasmania.
What do you think I'm fired up about?
Did you see the breaking news today?
That's why I'm fired up.
So they ran out of water on the flight on the way back, and the Fremantle players were forced to urinate in the hand basins.
So how do you feel about that, Quarters?
Oh, well, it's...
Are you going to get on board? Are you going to
open
up your bloody window?
I'm not on board. I am on board. It's a disgrace that Freo are
Fremantle
forced to travel
Dockers players and staff were reportedly forced to urinate in basins on a chartered flight home from Tasmania following the side's loss to the Hawks after the plane ran out of water. The Transport Workers Union today expressed deep concern and outrage. They're on board over the conditions faced by passengers and crew on the chartered flight after water on board the aircraft ran out just 30 minutes into a 4-hour flight. This resulted in the aircraft's toilets being non-functional, leading to an unsanitary and unsafe environment for both cabin crew and passengers, according to the TWU.
Yeah, it's not great.
Cabin crew were reportedly forced to manually scoop toilet waste into basins, which then led to passengers, i.e. Fremantle Dockers players and staff, using the basins for urination. The union said this act is a severe breach of basic hygiene standards. I'm going down there today for Fremantle. They got training, right? Mm-hmm. Luke Ryan speaking. I've got 3 questions for him. That's going to be right at the top. I'm going to try to see if Simon Garlick will come out and give us a statement. This is it. This is a tipping point, mate. This is the point where we go back to the AFL and we say, mate, this is unacceptable. You're sending us there anyway. The team from the furthest point in Australia is being sent 12 times to Tasmania to play footy, and you got blokes up the road. I know you're Victorian, mate, but you got to get on board with this.
Mate, I am on board. Stop saying I'm not on board.
Look very calm, mate. This is a historical moment. This is the time when we take on City Hall. We go, listen, this is not right.
So I think it's likely that there will be one less travel game next year, okay? I think they'll have some sort of a winter festival here, right? So that's one. But I think you're right. They need to address the trips to Tasmania. Get a Victorian, a non-huge crowd-pulling Victorian team like St Kilda or the Western Bulldogs to travel down there instead. I agree. I'm not on board,
and
mate.
All the Victorians are having a go at us going, oh, you don't understand. It's about money and Collingwood has big crowds.
Doesn't have to be Collingwood, though. It could
I
be
don't
another
care,
club.
mate. We don't care. We don't care. You know what that money's for? To subsidise most of the Victorian teams and keep them in the comp.
Well, not most of them. There's a
Most
few.
of them get money, mate. They all get
St
massive,
Kilda,
massive
Western
money.
Bulldogs, yeah.
There's only a handful of clubs that don't get
North Melbourne.
subsidised by the AFL, right? To stay alive. Eagles don't need to be staying alive. Fremantle are almost doing their own stuff as well. That's the only reason that Collingwood don't go to Tasmania, so they can play at the G and raise more funds.
100%.
But it's not. It means that the comp is unfair. It's already unfair with home and away.
Well, the
You
comp
can't have
is
10
unfair.
teams in one state and have home and away.
Fixturing is impossible to get it equitable given the number of teams we have
It's
at the
not
moment.
the VFL any, mate. They say to us, you joined with us. You joined us in 87, so you have to put up with it. No, mate. It's a national comp now. It's called national. We're not the interstate teams. We're just other teams.
If the West Coast Eagles and the Brisbane Bears at the time didn't join the competition in 1987, there would be there was a number of Victorian clubs that were basically insolvent.
You know what they did to us at the start? You know what they did to us at the start? They made us pay $4 million. It was going to be over 10 years, and they said, no, we want it up front, so nearly bankrupted the joint West Coast in the first year. Then we had to pay for the costs of them flying over, every team coming over, and their accommodation. So we had to pay the costs of them coming to town. All right, how's that? No, we'll come over and play, but you got to pay for us, pay the costs. Yeah, what? I mean, who can actually survive that? And the way they treated us. And now's the time. I know that on the commission that we're outnumbered, and that they're always going to have more 10 teams versus 8. So the vote is always going to go to the Victorians. But now we're pleading for some equity, some fairness. Just be good people and go. You know what? That's the line of this. What's happened to Fremantle on that flight is the final straw, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they've been proactive this year. It's not just been the last couple of weeks. So we've seen Simon Garlick and Don Pike be very vocal about this, spoken on many occasions about it. Even as the early derby, it was a hot topic when Andrew Dillon was here. So I think their voices have been heard. Let's hope there's some activation on it now. And I think there will be, Barra. I think there will be. So,
are you happy with...
But it's good to rattle the cage because we need to be loud.
Rattle the cage. We need change. That's exactly... Put your money where your mouth is. So I did the interview with him yesterday, right? And I had the questions ready, blah, blah, blah. Andrew Dillon, AFL CEO, in town, speaking to all the AFL CEOs. We said, and Mark Duffield was there as well, are you going to give the local teams an extra home game? And you could tell it's not happening. We're not getting. We're not getting a 13th. We're not getting a 13th home game each.
I reckon there's going to be some fixture changes so that there's other.
All he'll give us is 2 games away and then 2 in a row at home.
Blocks of travel. Yeah,
that sort of thing will happen. There might be a submission about having some sort of gather round over here.
That's it. The Winter Festival.
Maybe that could be done.
It's like a mini gather round.
But they're not going out of their way to sort of we should have more than 13 home games. I mean, if Collingwood's got 17 games in Melbourne, imagine the Eagles having 17 games at Optus.
Well, there'd be a hue and cry over that, wouldn't there?
Hello.
Yeah.
And we make a lot of money over here. They fill the stadiums, and they would get 60,000. They might get average 60 at the MCG as well. So we can do it over here, mate. So what is the imperative? It's politics. It's
money. It's about money.
It's all the dudes over there just ganging up on us and going, no, let's suppress them, and we want to play here.
So let's talk about the appeals tonight. So we've got 2 appeals. I think they've got a puncher's chance here. But what the bigger point of it is, we need to look at the grading. There's no room to move. So if we know the AFL's going in a direction where the head is protected. That's okay. But that's manifestly excessive 3 weeks. So what do they do? Well, there's no room to move in the grading. So they need to look at that. Probably you can't look at it in season. You've got to look at it end of season. But they need to put an accidental clause in or some negligence. There's got to be room to move so that I didn't mean to tackle him. His head has hit the ground accidentally. You get a week. I think if you get a week, you'd be...
So you're saying the matrix for the match of the opposite should change?
Wrong. It's now wrong.
So you're happy to cop 1 week, not 3 for something like that?
3 weeks,
but
things hard to
swallow. Andrew Dillon, AFL CEO, I really like the guy, super smart guy. We said to him, okay, are you going to do that? Well, we're always reviewing these things. Are the players confused? Well, maybe they're confused. I've seen 10 players say that they're Elliot Yeo, Liam Ryan, even in the East, players are saying that they're confused. Legends saying they're confused. What's a tackle? Should you still tackle? How do you sort of pull your arm, release an arm when you're halfway through a tackle? Caleb Sarong said, I'm a little guy. When I go for my tackles, I can't go half-assed on a big guy. Otherwise, he's just going to brush me off. So does that mean he doesn't tackle now? But just let me finish this point. So Andrew Dillon said, he goes, yes, but boys, last year there was 35 dangerous tackles. Mm-hmm. This year, so far, there's only been 11 dangerous tackles. So what we're doing is working. It's working. What we need to say to him is, okay, they're adjusting on some of the sling tackles and all that sort of stuff, but these margin ones where you've been sent to the tribunal and then you're having to go to an appeals, which two of them are happening. Isn't that a bit of a
And the MROs, the problem is the MRO's got no room to move. That's the problem. So
but they don't care. They'll say, oh, you can go to the tribunal and then you can go to the appeals tribunal.
Which is what they're doing tonight.
You're getting a fair run.
I think the real concern for
the players are confused.
Yeah, the players are confused, but been a lot of talk back this week, and we received a lot on the ABC, and it's fans saying, I'm going to stop going to footy. Once you hear that, I think that's a real alarm bell for the AFL.
Yeah, is the tackle going the way of the bump? That's the problem. The bump's gone, right? So the bump's gone.
There are plenty of examples. There are still examples where the tackle is legal and okay, and there's plenty of them during a game.
Or do you not take them to ground at all? I mean, but how could Caleb Sarong or Toby Bedford, say the Toby Bedford tackle, how could you not take him to ground?
That's right. There's no
way.
The
momentum carried you forward. He's 100%. A bigger guy. Taranto's a big man. Toby Bedford, courage to get hold of him and take him down. How does he get a pillow and shove it?
Well, that's what Elliot Yeo said. Yeah,
he'll get a pillow and shove it under his head.
So I think there are examples. I don't think the tackle's dead necessarily, because there are examples where they tackle them and you can bring them to ground without the head having impact. However, they do need to look at the grading system, and I think that it's just obvious, Barra. They look at the grading system, have some room to move so that we're not having the... there's plenty good about the game. It's still a great game. The 5 bounce runs down the wing, the high mark, the goals over the head. And we're not talking about that stuff. We're talking... And I know it's important to talk about it, but get it right, AFL. It's not difficult.
Well, have we got a great game if we take the tackle or reduce the tackle?
The tackle's a bit...
If I was a player now... And
you wouldn't tackle.
I was reasonably strong, so, you'd kind of be going in and out and going, you know what, should I go for this tackle, or should I just shepherd him or herd him into the corner, let him release the ball? Is that better for the game? I still think we should look at helmets for everybody. Helmets for everybody. Helmets for everybody, because it saves the impact on the ground. I know it doesn't save concussion. Those new mouth guards that are testing, are judging if you've got concussion. And I just think we got to soften up the grounds. Otherwise, we're not taking anyone to the ground.
So we asked Liam Ryan about that, actually, the other night, and he said the ground's actually a bit softer now at Optus because of the rain's come in. So it's not. It is hard, though.
Did he talk to Liam Duggan about it?
Yeah.
How did Liam Duggan get knocked out?
That's right, exactly. Well,
so how can it be soft?
There was also an accident. There was also
the contact.
Yeah, there was also some accidental contact, from Charlie with his knee hitting his head as well. So, or his head hitting his head. You know what I mean? So it was just.
You reckon it's a double whammy?
I do. It was an unfortunate. Look, I could live with a week, but I just think 3 weeks is excessive. Just on the helmets, to this point, they haven't alleviated concussion, but. There's some people, very smart people, working on helmets that may well alleviate concussion in the future. So stand by for that one. I might have a story on that in the next week, but I can't say too much about it at the moment. So, Barry, you're going out to Fremantle. Give me the 3 questions you're going to ask Luke Ryan.
Well, the first one after that tirade earlier, it's obvious. It's pretty obvious. He was on the flight from Tasmania. What was it like? What did you think? It's obviously a hell flight. Do you think it's right what's happening here? I think you'll buy into it. I'll probably try to get Simon Garlick, the CEO, as well, to comment on that, because Simon Garlick and Pike, in a rare display of unity, the Eagles and Dockers got together and did a submission together to the AFL about less travel, more time at home, that sort of thing for both their clubs. So that's good. So that's a really good
just
sign.
Interesting, Barrett. The Dockers have got like a 4-week block where they've got back-to-back home games. So it's like almost a 4-week block where they're sleeping in their own beds. So they're going to live like a Victorian team for
Wow.
the good best part of a month at a really important time of the year. So let's hope they can get a couple of W's on the board. I've got a really horrific flight story. I'll probably have to sanitise it a bit, though. I've probably told it on this podcast before.
Is this when
I was flying from London to New York with a couple of guys, including Darren Lyons, the paparazzi king.
Yeah.
I was not feeling well. We'd had a big night, and my two mates fell asleep next to me on the plane. We taxied for about 40 minutes at Heathrow, and it was very unusually humid. Anyway, I said to the hostess, I've got to get up. I'm in real trouble here. It was a Virgin flight, right? And she said, sit down. You can't get up. So I pulled the goodies bag, the Virgin goodies bag, and I'm sick in it. Okay. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a double hit barra, if you know what I mean. So I was in a bit of trouble at the other end. I managed to plank it for about I don't know, half an hour.
Oh my God!
And until I've never been so happy to see a green light come on saying you can now release the seatbelt and walk around the cabin. Straight to the lavatory, and the jocks went out. Some poor woman hanging up her washing in Jamaica landed on her head probably, but. Anyway, I was managed to clean myself up a bit and got back to my seat and ordered a gin and tonic, and all was happy with the world. But it was a horror story, Barra.
Is it what they call you sharted?
Oh, yeah.
Is it you sharted?
It was ugly there.
Brace and bitten in your pants? Oh, my God. Quarters, you're brave, man. I was at the airport yesterday.
Oh, yes. You're farewelling some of our Olympians.
Mate, so the Hockeyroos and Kookaburras were both leaving for Paris. Direct flight to Paris, 17 hours. It's pretty cool. And it was interesting, they were all given what's it called? Vegemite.
Oh, yeah.
How bad's that? I can't remember Vegemite. Yeah. And you know how you only need a little bit of Vegemite for just about a year.
Yeah. Oh, no, I go through it.
They had a box each of Vegemite.
Well, they handed it out to other athletes.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. So that. Yeah.
When I was living in London, there's in Covent Garden, part of the central London, there was an Australia shop, and I used to go there once a month and stock up, and I used to buy chicken and cheese twisties. Dim Sims, because you couldn't get them anywhere in the off licenses in London, and Vegemite. And when they had the AFL Grand Final and you'd watch it, I think it was Carlton Channel 4, you'd sit there at like early hours of the morning and watch it live, eating your Dim Sims and your Vegemite and it was wonderful.
You know what's going to happen now? Mm-hmm. You're going to get emails about telling old stories because you've taken over.
That's not. Yeah, but see,
what's that?
I tell them quickly.
Anyway, let me finish that story.
Anyway.
So I was at the airport.
Yeah.
I haven't finished my story about
Luke
Ryan.
Sorry.
But at the airport, so how's this? Hockeyroos, Kookaburras, special boarding place, balloons, everyone's there.
Well,
families.
good luck to the two. And Aaron Zaluski, the captain of the Kookaburras, could be a gold medal captain, mate.
Yeah, West Aussie. From Aquinas College. 10 days they start. And so I see this guy, Matt Dawson. And to be honest, someone had given me a tip off. I said, mate, you need to ask Matt about his finger. I go, oh, yeah. So I approach him. And do you know that Colin Batch, the coach from Western Australia? Great fella. So I started with him because I'm trying to keep it quiet. You know how you try to keep it away from the other media? Mm-hmm. So I dragged him aside and I'm interviewing them. I go, mate, I've heard that Matt Dawson has had a few challenges. And he goes, oh, unbelievable. Last week, broke his finger. Probably was out of the squad. And he went to his plastic surgeon, and the plastic surgeon said, the only way you can play in Paris is to have your finger amputated. And he went, let's do it.
So he's had it. So which finger is it?
But it's his ring finger on his right hand. Oh. It's below the first joint, and he's had it chopped off, and he's wearing this black guard. Like, would you actually do that to go to Paris?
An AFL player has done it before. Do you know who that was?
Daniel Chick.
Yeah,
I was with him. He, but his was real deep.
Were you with him when he had it removed?
Yeah, well, he was, but it was really deep too.
That's horrific.
His was
That's
a big
horrible.
One. So he's permanently damaged himself.
Oh, yeah.
He said, did you talk to your wife? She goes, yeah, she was a bit unsure about it, but, it's not that much.
Where's he going to put the ring?
It's taken like an inch off, right?
Where's the ring?
And he said...
Sorry,
so
that's
not his
funny,
right hand. It's his right hand.
Okay, fine.
Is it on your left hand?
Yeah, it is.
It is, right. And, right. And so he said, I said, he's 31. This is his third Olympics. And I was thinking he's a silver medalist. He said, no, I want to win in gold. I'm doing it. And so, I mean, how's that for bloody courage?
Eddie Ockenden, who's part of that Kookaburras squad, 5th
5
Olympics.
times, yeah.
Wow.
Matches, let's go toe for toe. Who does he match?
Oh.
Basketball.
Basketball.
The great man.
Oh, Andrew Gaze.
Yeah.
And the Andrew Hoy, the equestrian rider.
Yeah,
I think.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
So he went way beyond it. Hey, the 3 questions
Yes.
for Luke Ryan. Luke, if you're listening, mate, I'm coming down, brother. And these are the 3 questions. Get ready. Tanya Armstrong.
We've already told us the first one.
Meter officer, the flight officer, but it'll be bigger than him.
So
it's
what
a
are the
big
other
story.
two?
If the TWU's having a crack, it's a news story tonight, isn't it? On 7 News. The second one is Liam Baker.
Yes,
in that game.
Coming back.
He met with Caleb Sarong and Andy Brayshaw. Luke, were you in that meeting? So when they came over here to play, they met. So Caleb, you know that? Yeah, Caleb and Andy met with him, trying to talk him around. And so, Luke, were you there? What are the boys saying about it? What does Liam want?
Because West Coast in that chop up too, very
in the
strong.
bye, he met West Coast in the bye, and now he's met Fremantle. So clearly he's coming home. Huge chance to come home. Who does he go to? Does he go to Fremantle? Who've got the better picks, can satisfy. He wants to satisfy Richmond. He's really big on it. I'm a premiership player. I don't want you to shaft Richmond, so you've got to give him something. So the Eagles will have to come.
But they're
up.
also into Chad Warner.
Yeah,
so
but not for next year.
I don't know, I think
Zero
Baker's
chance.
more gettable, I think.
He is absolutely gettable. And third question, how did James Sicily outmark you in the goal square? What the hell was going on? What was the defensive setup? Did you see the kick, the boy who kicked the ball in?
Changwath
Giath kicked the ball in, shocking kick. So he's in a situation where the best result for Fremantle, because they were 2 points up late in the game, best result for Fremantle is a point, right? So he knows he's either got to lay it off or kick it to the top of the square. He kicks it really deep. And so there was a chance. Jackson was there. Luke Ryan was there.
Heath Chapman somewhere around
Sharpie
there.
was around the back.
Yeah.
No, Heath had dropped off and was looking after Moore, which was crazy town. You don't need to look after Moore if you know where the ball's going. So the defensive setup wasn't right.
Crazy town.
It was. I'm going to ask him. So, you weren't set up right.
Are you going to use the term crazy town?
No, probably not.
Okay.
No.
Use it.
Because DEFCON 4 fell flat on me. Oscar Allen. What? DEFCON 4? Anyway. And so, but how did Sicily outmark him?
He's a very good player. He's one of the best intercept marks in the comp.
He's got a bung shoulder.
Yeah.
He's going chizing down the back in the back
Coaching
line.
from Sam Mitchell.
Got moved forward. I think they lost someone, so that was part of the reason.
It's not a mastermind move, though, is it? It's an obvious move.
It's the Adam Hunter move, isn't it?
Well,
Freo used to have a go at Woosha that he only
Freo
had
do
one
it all
move.
the time.
Eh?
Freo do it all the time.
Who
They
do they
move
do
their
it?
defenders to the forward line just late in games.
Yeah,
Alex Pearce
Brendan
kicked
Cox,
a girl
Brendan
earlier.
Cox, Alex
Brendan Cox
Pearce.
does.
Yeah, good call. But they do that themselves, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's just to create an extra. But he's still playing in that position. He's not actually playing.
Yeah, look,
forward.
it was one that got away, but I think they're still in a good position. Freo, their destiny's in their hands. So
mate, they're giggling. You just said with all the home games, and they're going to. Surely they fix up Melbourne.
You've got to win them. You've got to still win them, mate.
They'll beat Melbourne.
On that point, let's pick some winners. But first, let's talk to David Shortte from TABtouch.
Shorty's tips.
G'day, Shorty. He's back. He's bronzed. He's got a little cocktail umbrella hanging out of his pocket. How was Bali?
It was great. Thank you, Quarters Barra. Great to be with you guys.
Now, Patrick Cripps, in your absence, has continued his form. He's your heater for the week.
He is, yeah. The Blue Skipper's been really going nicely in recent times. He's now into $3.75 to win the Brownlow after starting the season at $17. So he's been a real trim up, and we know the umpires do like him when he gets going.
I like your cooler here, Shorty, because it's basically an elimination final this weekend, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The Pies are our cooler this week. They've lost 3 on the bounce now, Barra. They're a bit easy to back with the punters. $1.90 out to $1.94. So Hawthorn clearly better back to those two sides this weekend.
Don't put any pressure on the Hawks, Shorty. Collingwood are certainties.
Ah, very nice. I'm off them after knocking off my Dockers last week.
Who's your hot punt for the week?
Hot punt this time round, I'll take GWS, Freo, Carlton and Port. $2.40 looks a good quote about 4 teams that should be winning this weekend.
And feels like Freo's going to be favourites against Melbourne, eh?
They're absolutely on the drift are the D's here, Barra. They opened up at $2.60. They've done nothing but blow since. They're now out to $2.88.
And Charlie Curnow's inherited Harry Mackay's goal-kicking yips.
He did last week, 3 goals, 7. But what that does tell you is he's had 10 shots on goal in the game. I don't think that he'll be missing too many this time around. He's into $1.70 to win the Coleman. They're playing the Kangaroos this Sunday. They're not well known for having big-bodied key defenders that can hold out a Coleman medal favourite. I think Charlie will go very large this Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Shorty.
Thanks, Shortte.
Marvel Stadium, Friday night, 5:40pm. A game I will be at Barra. Essendon $1.52 and Adelaide $2.55. 5 from 5 at Marvel this year, Essendon. Adelaide just starting to find a bit of form. Will Essendon drop 2 metre Peter? I don't think so, and I think they win this game.
So Essendon and the Crows, right, at Marvel Stadium, deep as the Crows. Matthew Nicks, it looks like he might be giving Dan Curtin a game, I've heard.
Gee.
So he might come in because he kicked 2 goals and had 22 disposals in the local comp.
So what's his thinking? Why has he not been playing more regularly?
Yeah, it's a bloody good question.
Clearly he knows something we don't, Barra. Clearly he knows something we don't.
They still think they can play finals. It's a bit like Simo. He must have been thinking, I've just got to play my best team. And then round 17, that's generally when coaches get sacked. So Essendon disappointing against the Demons. Surely they bounce back. So I'm going the Demons too, my friend. Yeah, Darcy Parish edging
you
closer
mean the Bombers? The Bombers.
What did I say?
Demons. You've got Essendon.
Essendon, sorry, mate. Essendon.
I know they're the same
Parish,
colours as Perth, mate, but they're not the Demons.
And Parish may make a return from a calf injury too, I've heard.
Yeah. Saturday, Engie Stadium. Giants $1.37. Take on Gold Coast $3.10, 11:45am. Look, I'm going to pick the Giants, but I reckon the Gold Coast, this is the best chance they've had of winning one on the road because they're 2 completely different teams home and away. You?
No doubt about that. I saw Damien Hardwick said that Lockie Weller is likely to play. So he's coming back from an ACL.
Yeah,
so that's pretty big, isn't it?
Good luck to Lockie. He's had a really bad run, hasn't he?
Ben Ainsworth apparently could have played last game, so he'll probably play. But the big news out of this game was that they've just announced that Stephen Canelio is out. He's not playing. So does that tip it for you?
No, I'm still going Giants at home. But I tell you, they've got a chance here. What I like about the Giants at the moment, Toby Green has found form. 4 last week, I think. But just his cavalier attitude is back, Barra. So I like that. When he's up and about, they're up and about.
Do you like him on social media, G'ing up everyone and all
That's
that sort
all right.
of stuff?
What the GWS Sydney stuff's... Sydney needs to relax a bit, mate. They're just having a bit of fun, GWS. Come on. Come on.
Taking
really.
the piss out of Isaac Heaney.
But that's all right. That's all right.
It was pretty clever.
The Giants are good at it.
I've been the guy that's most fined in the AFL of all time, and I just wanted to tell our fans taking the absolute piss out of what Isaac Heaney did.
Are you okay with that?
Are
you okay with it? I'm okay.
It's great because it's a rugby league town. Hey, we haven't mentioned Origin. What's going on?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, is that what's happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Congratulations to New South Wales from where they were at the 8-minute mark of game 1. You know what? That was a magnificent effort by them, and congratulations to all Blues fans out there. I take my hat off. They had a win at Suncorp, a rare win at Suncorp. You know, what can I say?
They've won the first series
for
several
show.
years.
Horror show.
What's the fullback's name? Reece, what's his
Walsh,
face? What's happened to him? He's forgotten how to play.
Been bashed from pillar to post in the 3 Origin games, I can tell you that.
And New South Wales didn't even need their main, what's his name? What do they call it? 5'8" or fly half.
And the hammer, my man, the full back, didn't score a try. It's the first time in an Origin game he hasn't scored a try. So, they didn't,
You know why they won New South Wales? Ben Cousins was there.
Oh, was he?
Just because he went. He reckons it was
he gets around.
Unreal. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was like UFC.
It's on my bucket list to go and watch a game of Origin. Even if it's just an NRL game, I'm happy. At Suncorp Stadium. Apparently it's magnificent. Let's move on.
All right.
Marvel Stadium. I'm travelling this week, Barra, so I'll be at the game. Marvel Stadium.
It sounds like you're about to catch a plane.
Yeah, I am this afternoon. St Kilda $1.24, West Coast $4.10. Now, with the Eagles, is Jake Waterman going to play? That is the question.
Oh, you've moved on to the Eagles game already, have you, brother? Isn't that? Where's that?
Just
yeah,
go
okay.
with me.
All right, I'm
Yeah, it
sorry. Yeah. Yeah, well, what happens there with Waterman? That's a bloody good point.
So if Waterman doesn't play, does Jack Darling come in?
Duggan's out, Brockman's out.
Flynn back. So can they move Bailey Williams forward, give Jack Williams more of a hit-up player? I'm not sure what they do. Do you play Jack Darling? I'm saying no. I'm saying go with the kids.
Wow. Well, one thing's for sure, I don't think McGovern's playing.
No, he's not playing. No. So Harry Edwards gets another chance, and I'm pleased about that. I thought he was pretty good last weekend on Eric Hipwood and a little bit on Joe Danaher, but Harry hasn't had much of a go this year. He was injured last year, but he's got a lot of talent. I think he's the future.
So you're
It's
not.
pretty hard to break into that side when you got McGovern and Barras there, though.
So let's do role playing here. I'm
Ooh,
Jared.
role-playing.
I'm Jared. Not the sort you do. Jared Schofield. I'm Jared Schofield. You're
I've got
you're
just
Jack
awful
Darling.
thought popped into my head then.
You're Jack Darling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. You're Jack Darling, and I'm Jared Schofield. And Darling comes to me, and goes, Scoey, I kicked 2, played in the ruck, did everything you said. I kicked the sealer. You know who's out, and Waterman's under a cloud. Any chance?
There is a chance. They'll
No.
consider-
What do you say?
No, look, we're going. You're a depth player now, Jack. And
That's right. You're Schofield. I'm
yeah,
Darling.
I'm saying, look, we're going to go with
Scoey, why not?
we're going to go with a different setup. That's not how Jack speaks, is it?
What's
I'm just saying,
what does that mean?
You're a depth player
Well, yeah,
now.
why don't you
we're
st-
going with Bailey and
So you tell him he's a depth player.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
You're
You're,
a
you're
backup
telling me
dude.
to be a role.
Yeah. That's what you'd say. You're the dude. I don't care about your 300. What about my 300?
Well, Jared Schofield might say you're playing. I'm saying if I can transport myself into Jared Schofield's mind,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Me.
That you're a depth player.
Yep.
And
We're
so
going
I
with
say,
it.
but what about my 300th?
Well,
I need,
it's not all about milestones.
get a
mate.
few more games up. It'd be good for the club if I got close to it.
Okay.
Next year, my 300.
Well, you've got a contract next year, so there's plenty of time to play your 300.
But I did everything you said, though.
We can't make.
I went back and I did everything you said.
Okay. Well,
This is how the conversations
I
go.
want you to kick 6 at the waffle level.
I could never do that. I could never actually put it on Malthouse about why I wasn't playing. I wasn't overly worried either, by the way. But some blokes, they just
What would
they
Mick
just
have said?
squeeze them.
What would Mick have said?
Oh, yeah. I'll be lucky to get an appointment. It was like that time. I know you hate the old stories, but Trent Nichols.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yes.
You heard about this one?
Yeah. Well, go on. Tell our listeners, and then we can.
About how he worked at Cadbury's.
Oh no, I haven't heard that story. No.
So he's working at Cadbury's, right? Just by the by, and he's playing well in the Rezzies or wherever it was, in the waffle. And he thinks he's ready to go, so he knocks on, and Mick gets him at training on a Tuesday night and says, Trent, I want to see you after training, mate. Yeah, got something important to tell you. And he's thinking, you beauty, I'm in, I've been picked. And this is no bulldust. This is Mick to a T. He goes into the coach's room, knocks on the door. Mick, you want to see me? Yeah, Trent, come in, mate. Mate, you work at Cadbury's, don't you? He goes, yeah. Oh, Easter's coming up. I need a whole heap of Easter eggs.
So did he get the eggs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no.
Did he get picked? He goes, Mick, anything else? No, maybe a couple of those eggs. Maybe those bunnies as well, those rabbits. A couple of those rabbits, maybe a few small.
I was thinking-
Anything else to talk about, Mick? No, that's it. See you, mate.
I was thinking I thought there was a Eagles player who told Mick at quarter time in his first and only game that he thought we should do this, this, and this. Who was that?
Oh, yeah. Who was that? Yeah. Was
King?
it? No, it was... he played for Perth for a
Yeah.
while.
Anyway,
Never played again.
Big mistake.
Never
Mick,
played again.
Mick, I think we should do a couple of changes to our game structure. No, big mistake.
Porter. It was Shane Porter.
That's it.
Ports, thanks for your advice, mate. Shut the up.
Okay, I'm picking the Saints, but I think the Eagles are right in this game up to their neck. You?
Yes.
Okay, who are you picking?
The Saints. I give the Eagles a
Eagles,
shout.
the last win on the road was there last year against the Bulldogs late in the season. I think they're in this
with
game.
McGovern and Duggan now gone as well.
Now, a big 8-point game here. MCG, Saturday, 2:35 p.m. Western Standard Time. Hawthorn, can you believe it? The favourites, $1.86. Collingwood,
money game.
$1.94 Barra.
They got it wrong. It's even money.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now,
Elimination final. It is, isn't it?
Whoever loses can't
Can't play
that's
finals.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm very nervous about it because for the first time, Barra, I'm conceding Hawthorn is a chance to play finals.
Oh, they're
and
gone.
I'm picking
They
the,
are
and
so
I'm
gone.
picking the Hawks.
Jinxed them.
I am picking
Hey,
the
mate, what did you make of the... so
Who are you picking, by the way?
Yeah, I'll get to it. But
Yeah.
Lockie Schultz out with concussion protocols, right? And then do you see the Victorian media turn on him?
Oh, about the Jack Ginnivan trade.
Yeah, just saying what a waste of a trade.
A
Why
bit
did you
harsh.
get rid of Ginnivan?
Bit harsh.
Should have kept...
I think Lockie's metrics are slightly better than Jack's, but they're talking about what they gave away. So effectively, it's about a fourth pick because of everything they did in that trade. But I think that's a bit unfair. I think Lockie has been really valuable to them this year, but Jack Ginnivan's been really good at Hawthorn.
Very good. Dockers fans absolutely loved it, of course. So Howe's a chance to return from a hammy.
Yep.
Cox is knocking on the door as well.
Yep.
And the big story is Dan McStay.
Yes,
Made
back
a
from the ACL.
Yeah, played in the VFL, and they're saying, will they bring him straight in because they've got no one in the forward line? I mean, I suppose if Cox comes in, that
Yeah,
makes
my
it a bit
check
easier.
was a big out for them. A couple of
Yeah,
weeks
so
ago.
it's such a
3
toss-up.
on the trot too. This would be 4 in a row if they lose this.
Can they go to the well again, the Pies?
Of course they can.
Yeah, I'll go the Pies. I'm
Okay.
tipping the Pies.
I'll go the Hawks. You go the Pies. GMHBA Saturday, 5:30
you catching
p.m.
a plane, eh?
Yeah, Geelong $1.46. Western Bulldogs $2.70. GMHBA Barra. Geelong's they're not back, but they're back as a top 4 contender. I don't think they are the side they were earlier in the year, but Tom Stewart's found some form. Dogs, I really like their form too. Rory Lobb going back into defence has been important, but you've got to pick the Cats at GMHBA, don't you?
I think so. Norton's a chance to play, though. He's come back from concussion. Well, he will play. Adam Treloar, still a chance to face the Cats despite calf tightness in the game against the Blues. And Guthrie, what's happened to Guthrie? His Achilles injury, he might play as well. But you're thinking, the schizophrenic Bulldogs, I mean, you didn't tip them last week either, did you?
No.
I mean, just...
GMHBA is
hang
a
on,
really tough ground to play.
Where is this game? At
GMHBA.
Geelong.
Yeah.
All right, Geelong.
Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide $1.09, Richmond $7.50. I've really liked Richmond this year in terms of their effort, but they've just got too many outs, and they're at the stage you can't pick them at the Adelaide Oval, can you? Port Adelaide to win.
Mitch Georgiadis returns from that one-match suspension. Todd Marshall got injured, though, didn't he? Did a hammy. Did you see how he did it? Charlie Dixon fell on him.
There's been some unusual injuries this year.
Should Charlie Dixon...
Matt Flynn in the pre-season, that
Yeah,
hammy. There's
yeah.
been some really unusual ones. Yeah,
Should Charlie Dixon be out there?
yeah, played all right last week.
You reckon?
Didn't he?
You reckon he should?
Yeah,
you
you
reckon
need
he
him. Well, they
keep
need him.
playing?
They need him at the moment.
Well, Mitch Georgiadis, yeah. Well,
who you picking?
Jeremy Finlayson ruled out for the rest of the season as well. Lacerated spleen. Power for
They've
me.
been disappointing, Port. I mean, I had them as a top 4 team and possibly challenging. But when you look at it beyond the 3-4 gun midfielders, they're a B+ list, aren't they? There's nothing outstanding about Port Adelaide. So Ken Hinkley has actually done a pretty good job to get him contending most
You
years.
keep saying that.
Yeah.
What if he gets the bullet?
Oh, well.
If they don't make the 8, he gets the bullet, doesn't he?
Yeah, you'd say so.
Which is a horrible thing.
Sunday, Gabba, 11:10 a.m. Interesting game this. Brisbane $1.86, Sydney Swans $1.94. So coming off a trip to Perth, Brisbane, 13-point winners. It was against West Coast. It was a win, but it wasn't comprehensive. Sydney back in form with a big win last week. I'm really tempted to pick Sydney, but you can't pick against Brisbane at the Gabba, can you?
No, well, have you talked about...
And we think Charlie Cameron, let's just say he's not playing.
Zero chance, isn't it? Very slim chance. Slim chance.
I don't think it's zero, but yeah, slim chance.
Even on the good bloke policy.
Oh, well,
He's used that.
well, the problem is, Barrett, it probably was a worse incident, the one where he got off earlier in the year. So that's where it's inconsistent.
So the Lions lose Charlie Cameron and the Swans get Isaac Heaney back. So, and despite being at the Gabba, going Sydney.
Yeah, I know, I'm going Gabba. I'm going Brisbane.
Are you?
I have to pick him at the Gabba, mate. It's just my golden rule.
Okay, I'm going Sydney.
Okay, Sunday, 1:20 p.m. Fremantle, $1.42. Melbourne, $2.88. We spoke about Luke Ryan, 150th game. Congratulations. I'm going to pick Fremantle to win this game, mate, but I'm very nervous for them because I think Melbourne's in with a big shout here. Having said that, Melbourne's played Fremantle at Optus Stadium only once, winning by 46 points and keeping Fremantle to just 39 points, which was its third lowest score, excluding 2020 at the venue. Really interesting stat that. Just as interesting as Brisbane last week, first game against the Eagles at Optus Stadium, which was bizarre.
Yeah, what a fair draw it is.
Yep.
Yeah, Dinkum.
Anyway,
Gorn.
Fremantle obviously matches up well against Melbourne. They've won their last 2.
Just explain to me, Max Gorn out.
Yeah, huge.
Sean Darcy back.
Yeah.
Darcy and Jackson.
That's where they get the advantage.
Yeah, massive advantage. Alex, so it's...
And Alex Pearce back too.
Here comes the cavalry over the Alex Pearce, Sean Darcy. Well, I saw Walker played waffle, so they must have dropped him. So Walker would be a silly chance to play as well. So it could be 3 changes, probably just the 2. They're basically going to be at full strength. aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
They'll be at full strength.
Well, it's theirs to lose, mate. There's a top 4 spot up for grabs, maybe a top 2 spot up for grabs.
Under no circumstances do they lose. Jack Billings might come in, apparently.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm nervous, mate. Under no circumstances, but I'm going to pick Freo, but nervously.
Freo. I predict Freo confidently. Did you see the Alice Springs game?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I know.
please.
Don't you reckon Melbourne will be smarting from that, though? A bit of a point to prove.
Smarting without Max Gorn.
Yeah, I know. Okay, very
And
good
Petrarca.
point. Sunday, 2:40 p.m, Carlton $1.13, North Melbourne $6. North Melbourne has proven over the last 6 weeks that you can't just discount them. But I think you look at that Carlton forward line, pretty hard to make a case for a North Melbourne team that's pretty thin in defence. Carlton.
What's happened to... So what was Shorttey saying? He thinks Charlie's going to kick 10.
Yeah, well, he's
He's
3-7
going
last
to
week.
win the Coleman this weekend.
Could.
Yeah, kicks 10. He goes, blows Hogan to the Scheisenhausen. What's happened to George Hewitt? I see his stats. I was having a look at his stats in the VFL. 34 disposals, 12 tackles, 10 clearances. Can't get a game.
Oh, well, he might be getting one this week.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think so. You want him in that team,
Hard to
don't
change
you?
that midfield, though.
Rising star favourite, I think. We'd be right up there. Barrett, now it's time for this.
Saddle up your camel. It's time for the Thirsty Camel mailbag.
Thank you to our long-term sponsor, Thirsty Camel. This week's special, Emu Export, 30 can block, only $59.99. We have a $50 gift voucher to give away. We will be in touch with the winner, so you don't have to email your details into us. We will contact you. Get your questions in for next week to quartersandbarra at wanews.com.au. Some good emails this week, Barra. This one from Chris. Hey, Duff and Barra. That's what he's actually written here. Thanks for that, Chris. So Gaff, including his pre-season games, needs 3 games to get to 300. So that's AFL Life membership, Barra. Do you give him 2 games as sub and then the farewell game against Carlton at home? Also, I don't know if you've heard, but my home footy club, Southerners in Pemberton, had 6 emus come onto the field of play during the game.
How good was that?
That is fantastic.
That went around the world, you know. I saw it on CNN.
So it was an emu export, was it? Boom, did you get that?
Yeah, good one, mate. Nice. Been working on that for long.
No, about 2 seconds.
In Pemberton, Western Australia, this is and they had all these lines about birds and stuff. That was amazing. That was actually amazing. The Southerners.
I was driving near the Grampians in Victoria once, and an emu ran out onto the road
Why
in
did I know
front
you'd
of
have a
the
story?
car and started running in front of the car. And I had to slow down. I would not leave the road. It was really spooky.
What do they get up to?
Oh, they're pretty fast.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
50 k's?
Really? No, they're really
No, it wouldn't
quick.
be 50 k's, wouldn't it?
And it's like they don't look like they're not sleek, are they?
What's quicker?
Flightless birds.
Ostrich or an emu? Which
Same
goes
thing,
quicker?
I think.
Which goes quicker?
I don't know. We cover the big topics here. But what do you think about the Gaff idea? So does Gaff, should Gaff get a farewell game? Yes. Should he get the 3 games required to? You know, AFL Life membership's huge.
Yes, I do.
So this is his last year.
I played 47 games. So I know how big it is.
You don't get life membership for 50.
I know. That's what I mean, mate.
Okay.
That's what I mean. All of us fall short at some stage.
Yeah, okay.
I
Well, I
would have
fell
liked- I would
300
like to have
games
played
short.
50. Between you and I, we played 47
We
games.
have, yeah. Well, I would have played 300 if not
You,
for
me
my
and Jacko.
incredibly small hands.
You, me and Jacko played 300 games
Yeah,
between
we
us.
have too,
That's,
yeah.
that's what I always say.
Yep.
Me and Jacko played 300 games between us.
I'm not sure if I'm giving games away. That's all, Barra.
Hey, Josh, he keeps missing these jokes. I reckon people are wrong. I reckon I'm half funny.
Half funny is about right, mate. But what's
I
your
love how
answer?
you trample
Does
over
Gaff get 3 games to get to the 300?
Personally, I would love to see it, but it won't happen. No. And
I'm all for a farewell game, though.
Clearly, they're setting up for retirement and what it looks like and where he goes after that. Just had a baby as well, which he didn't because he didn't play waffle on the weekend because he just had a new bub, a new son.
Congratulations.
What's the name? I can't remember the name. It was a cool name. And so he's got
Been a great servant of the club, deserves a farewell game, but I'm not really one for giving out, just handing games out. They need to blood the youth.
I'd love it to see him get 300 because he missed the premiership, you know what I mean? And he had to sit, so you saw him sitting in the box with Simo, and I posted the photo as Willie, Willie was there, and Jetta, and who was the other?
Intriguing, the Willie story.
We
not
covered
playing.
that on Tuesday, But then everyone's slamming, all the Dockers people still slam Gaffey. He's seriously, Dockers fans, he is one of the world's nicest blokes. And what happened, I'm good friends with Brandy Brayshaw, what happened was a complete accident. He was nothing malicious about it.
Cost him a premiership.
Cost him a flag, so he's done his time.
Yep, fair call. Hey, another Craig writes, "G'day lads, couldn't agree more with Quarters' comments regarding players taking leave of absence during the season for weddings, parties, anything." Very good band, that one. You only work to perform 22 weeks in the year and careers are short. It's not the same for media. If Quarters wants to take a well-earned break, let him go for it. After all, the West can't do any more hit pieces on Adam Simpson now, and you can still do the pod via Zoom. As for Jack Buckley and his Olympic request, well, perhaps his girlfriend Celeste should forget the bright lights of Paris and spend the night in downtown Cabramatta. Then get down and support GWS. They need all the fans they can get. Clubs should also get ahead and employ an obstetrician and midwife in the event of players' partners falling into labour on game day. A quick C-section at halftime in the change rooms, a slap on the bum, and then get back and play.
Gone too
Pretty
far.
sure that's how the Dacos boys started.
He was going so well. He's a bit like me. He overcooks it and just goes too far and loses all credibility.
Okay.
Love over footy, mate.
No.
Nah. You got it wrong there. The Grinch. I mean, if you're, it's a once in a lifetime event for your partner, and you can be there. And it turns out he's not missing any games anyway, isn't it? He's just missing training and stuff. So it's a bit different than you thought.
Okay, no, I'm standing my ground. Hi, Quarters and Barra. Is winning a premiership outside Victoria harder and more impressive? 2014, 15, 16, 17, the interstate team finished higher, but played a Victorian team at the MCG and lost. 2019, Richmond played 7 games straight at the MCG to finish the season leading into the finals. The 2023 season from round 8 to the grand final, Collingwood left Melbourne 3 times. There's nothing impressive about that season. Love the show and all the stories you guys bring. That one's from Matt. I love the email, Matt. And absolutely it's harder to win a grand final from outside Victoria. We saw Chris Fagan actually present the AFL with a paper this year, Barra, talking about the differences when he was at Hawthorn as an assistant coach and taking Brisbane to the MCG on grand final day as a Lions coach. He said he outlined all the differences, and they're massive, mate. Just things like sleeping in your own bed, having wives and partners and friends and family at the game and around you, all of that stuff. All the assistants and all the boot starters and all the staff at the clubs can't all go to the grand final. So it does make a difference.
Yeah, and you know what? Andrew Dillon admitted it's harder to win a premiership from WA. He actually said that at the Eagles Derby lunch.
That's Captain Obvious.
He
of course it is.
I know, but so what's the next question? Are you going to do something about it?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not.
Well, but the problem is the contract at the G. But that's where we get into all this conversation about a series of 3 grand finals, etc. And even then, we're told no, contractually, a deciding grand final game has to be at the MCG.
There's a lot of people who love having the grand final at the MCG, don't they?
Yep.
I mean, you're one of them, aren't you?
I do. I like it. It's a great ground. It really is. G'day, Quarters and Barra. I've been thinking about ways that the interstate clubs can be balanced with the lack of travel by Victorian clubs. How about all interstate clubs get access to the full products of their next generation academies? Half of the interstate clubs already get this, but providing the SA and WA teams with the same will negate some of the disadvantages endured due to the excessive travel burden. It won't be a direct balance, but the effect might be similar overall on club seasons. Would appreciate your thoughts on this. Oh, that's James Brown from Samson. I feel good. I like the idea about the academies, and they're going to address that, so you will be able to match inside 40, but it still doesn't alleviate the travel burden. So how about both? Why not both? Absolutely have access to your academy players, but let's alleviate the travel burden. We need both.
No,
As
well
you
said,
say,
mate.
it's a national competition.
I agree with you, Brody.
Hi. Oh, he's back. Raoul.
Raoul.
Hi, Barra and Quarters. I'm not trying to audition for the AFL fixturing person's job, but may I raise a suggestion to assist both Freo and the Chardonnay set West Coast with their current travel burden? As a trade-off for both Adelaide and Port Adelaide hosting their gather-round games, both SA teams are obligated to play at least 2 games in Tasmania and the Northern Territory. Love this idea. For instance, Adelaide to play at Alice Springs and Launceston, with Port Adelaide playing in Darwin and Hobart. In 2024, both SA teams will play 1 game each at Blundstone Arena, Hobart, and 0 in the NT. Freo have played games both in NT and Tassie this year. Seems a fair trade-off to me. Or another option would be for Freo to play Hawthorn down at Souness Park, Mount Barker, WA.
Yes,
And give them a
now we're
taste of
talking.
their own medicine.
Stick it,
Cheers,
Tom.
fellas. Raoul from South Perth. Love all of those suggestions.
That is brilliant. There's a direct flight, as you said, mate, from Tasmania. There's a direct flight to
There
Busselton.
is. From Busselton to Tassie, exactly. Yep, I like it. Last one. Hi, gents. Mike here from South Australia. I love Tuesday's episode with Barra firing up over the constant AFL rule changes and St. Quarters towing the party line without ruffling any feathers.
Someone's seen
Come
through you.
on, Mike.
They're on to you.
With Harley, turn it up. With Harley Reid gaining such a reputation in a short period of time, would it be unreasonable to offer him up as a trade in 18 months' time for numerous first-round picks and quality trade gains? I don't understand the rhetoric of rebuilding a team around one player when the Eagles need numerous positions to be filled with quality talent. Barra, please keep up the reference to the playing days, etc., as it proves great insight into the inner sanctum of an AFL football club and its past coaches, players and staff. That's from Mike.
Mike, is it? Well, Mike, I've got another one for you because earlier we were talking about tip-offs. And now, Quarters, where do you sit on that's how journalism operates, doesn't it? And sometimes you're not sure of the agenda of the person who's tipping you off. Are they trying to upset someone? Are they trying to bring them unstuck? But how do we sort of make that judgment call of, do I use this? Am I just helping this bloke? Is it legitimate news?
Well, how you do it is you run it, but you balance it. You put the other side out there as well.
Even if someone who's tipping you off is just trying to hurt someone, right?
Well, it depends what the hurt is.
I'll give you an example. That was a tip-off about this guy getting his finger amputated, which turned out to be a good story for him, wasn't it? Like he'll become a bit iconic,
Did you talk to him?
Yeah, spoke to Matty Dawson as well.
How's he feeling?
The finger himself, he said within...
You got phantom pains?
He did say that, actually. And so within 10 days, he'll be... What do you use that ring finger for? You use it for much? What would you use that one for?
I don't know.
No, I'm being serious. It's probably useless anyway.
Well, no, it's not, because you don't know what you've lost till it's gone, Barra. It's like eyebrows. You
Sounds
ever
like
had
a
your
song,
eyebrows shaved? I have.
Can you sing that song?
You know what?
You don't know
when they're
what
gone,
you've lost
you realise
till
what
it's
they're
gone.
for. Same with the ring finger.
The tip I was going to give for Mike, not the tip, the story, is I got this tip. This is no Buddhas, and I got it from a good friend of mine, and I probably won't say it. He's a famous football man, and he was at the West Coast Eagles, and the club was a bit offside with the great John Todd. So it was after Toddy had left West Coast, right, and Moldas was there, and Mick clearly was offside with Toddy as well, and so they had heard that he was meeting with the Bulldogs when they were in town and maybe giving them some feedback as to how the Eagles operate and how they'll play. And so they wanted to stitch him. So they rang me and they said, mate, we believe he's going to be at this motel meeting with the Bulldog hierarchy in the foyer at this time. If you have a camera there, you will capture that. And by the way, here's a letter that we've written to the Footy Commission about John Todd. We're not happy with his behaviour, that he's talking to other clubs about the West Coast
what
Eagles. Now, did you think that that's a bad thing? That
No, I'd go into that story. It's a great story.
Yeah, and is Toddy allowed to talk to other clubs, though?
Yeah, of course he is.
He is, but it doesn't look good, does it? The optics, as they say.
Oh, okay.
So I'm out there with a camera outside.
Where was the motel?
Just on the Riverside Drive there. You know those boutique motels down there?
Okay.
Where you can walk on the...
And did Toddy turn up?
And Toddy turned up, and we got shots of him meeting with the coach of the Bulldogs and that.
Who
and
was
I
the
had
coach
the
of
letter.
the day? Do you remember?
Oh,
Terry Wallace?
Was it Terry Wallace? Might have been. I think it might have been Terry Wallace. Anyway, Toddy none too happy, fair to say. Holy shit! And but see, they assassinated him, didn't they, for their own purposes? And I was party to it.
Had a good record, took him into the finals. So the late great John Todd.
But is that a good thing to do, though?
It's okay.
Like,
it's
I'm
a good
telling
story.
Morally, is
Sometimes you barrack for the story, mate. Who's our winner? Is it?
You're a mercenary bastard, mate.
Is it? No, I'm not. I'm a journalist. Raoul or Matthew Nunn? I like Raoul's.
Raoul?
I like his suggestions about Adelaide. They're both SA teams.
And the dude...
and Hawthorn going down to play in Mount Barker. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, you are the winner. Well done, Raoul.
Now, before you wrap
this
up...
This week's Thirsty Camel voucher.
Yeah, tell them to do the
And
plug.
don't be in touch. We will be in touch with you.
What do they get? An EMU Export 30 block? Is that the one?
They get a $50 gift voucher, courtesy of Thirsty Camel, my friend.
Yeah, it's $60 those 30 cam
Okay.
blocks. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Have you,
great value.
Do you drink EMU?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Yes,
Obviously, you don't.
No, I do. I do. It took a while to warm to it. When I moved from Victoria, it took a little while. I've got to say, my favourite is Swan.
Swan Gold?
Swan Draft. I love Swan Draft, the old black duck.
Yeah.
Love it. And I reckon it's very similar to Carlton Draft. People say you've got no idea what you're talking about. I reckon they're similar. Anyway.
Now, before we finish,
Yes,
you
go on.
have to do it. You have to do a Peter Finch network.
Yes.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Come on.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
So I mentioned it earlier, but it slipped through the keeper. Peter Finch, in between that movie being released and the Academy Awards, died. So he was posthumously awarded an Academy Award for that very performance, Barra. There's a bit of movie trivia
Good
for you.
trivia, mate. Good
There
trivia.
you go.
He was an Aussie too,
You have
eh?
been listening to Quarters and
What was
Barra.
his name in the movie?
I don't know. We have been brought to you by TABtouch. Got the touch? Download the TABtouch app today. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Hopefully we've helped you get some winners this week. We'll be back on Tuesday to pour ourselves over round 19.